Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to another great video where we will be doing a full-on review and analysis of Gran Turismo 7. And I've got a whole lot to say about this game, so let's just dive right into it. Let's just do it. I just want to say, before I say anything else, let me explain my bias. And yes, I had a bias going into this game. I was very, 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 very much biased toward this game. I was extraordinarily excited to sit down and play because, you know what? PlayStation might have one of the absolute best marketing teams in the world. I mean, just look at how they managed to botch the release of the PS5 and still sell the absolute daylights out of it. Not bad. Give your marketing head a huge raise. And then creating all the trailers and this major PR campaign they went on for Gran Turismo 7, I couldn't have been more excited to play it because watching the trailers, watching the great Kazumura Yamaguchi sit down and discuss his latest creation, it was just hard not to get excited about it. And it looked like for the PS5, like PlayStation Studios had managed to possibly create yet again a genre-defining game. A lot like what the original Gran Turismo game did in the 90s. It not only defined a genre, it built a brand new genre nobody had ever even thought of. Racing games have been around for years, but Gran Turismo was the first one to create it in a racing simulation type, really making you feel like they're there. And let's just go ahead and say iRacing, Forza, Assetto Corsa, even Need for Speed, all of these games owe their very existence to the original Gran Turismo game, which proved it could be done and could sell really, really well, which is why all these other spin-offs, basically call it what it is, exist. Gran Turismo 7 looked poised to do it yet again. There was we all know of the massive power of the PS5, right? But it looked like for this time, what they were going to do was use all the massive power and features of the PS5 to create the most realistic and absolute best racing game ever released. That was my bias, off of watching all the great trailers. I downloaded it the day it came out. Couldn't have been more excited to play it. I actually pre-ordered it and got some of the fantastic pre-order content. You get like 3 new cars and 100,000 extra credits added to your account, allowing me to basically start out with the car I actually wanted to start out with rather than what the game stuck me with. So, you know, I had a little Ethernet plug on the back of my PS5 and I downloaded the whole thing and I didn't think to take it out. Right? I got so excited, I just hit start and play. I was so pumped to play it, and it didn't occur to me to take the cord out. I'm going to tell you why that's significant in just a moment. You're probably thinking, who cares? I'll tell you why. I sat down, and it looked and felt phenomenal. On the outset, this is a revamped Gran Turismo. I mean, they've completely redesigned it. I'd even say reimagined it from the ground up. The whole experience is different. For one, you don't just race in cups and circuits quite like you used to. The whole thing is built around the cafe, which is a new idea they've come up with. And basically, it's a little funky, but I'm going to try to explain it to you in a way that makes sense. Basically, the idea is that you log into it, and every time you log in, there's a new menu book. But rather than eating or drinking delicious scones and tea or whatever it may be that you like at a cafe, you're given a series of cars. In order to earn each one of these cars, you have to complete a series of objectives. It's a little funky, but you get what I'm saying so far. Hopefully you follow me. I know it sounds weird, but that's what you do. All right. As you progress through the game, there's actually no clear direction, which surprised me a little bit. In the previous iterations, there was a more clear direction. I raced these small type championships to get to the big ones. Here, it's just all about earning cars, really just experiencing cars. And by the way, that's something I have to talk about. You know how Gran Turismo's famous for all their little mini movies they did? Like how in Gran Turismo 6, they had Lang Lang, the internationally renowned pianist, sit down and play something. I forget who did it, but they had him sat down and playing dramatically as there was dramatic race clips being done. Yeah, they're really famous for their intro movies, but for this one, they couldn't have been more significant. First, they showed it was a really long mini film, actually. First showing the Wright brothers, them creating the plane, and after the plane, they showed the very first cars being developed, and they showed a really neat like car development all through the centuries. You know, there's race cars, there was motor racing, there was NASCAR, there's Formula One, and then there's Gran Turismo 7. The implication being pretty clear, but it was kind of tongue-in-cheek, hilarious, and actually really well filmed. Believe it or not, it's actually one of the best parts of the game, surprisingly. Anyway, as I was saying, that's the game layout. No clear direction. It's more about it's about experiencing vehicles. It's about connecting to them in a way that couldn't really be done in the past, because as we all know, this is a new generation for us car fans, right? Not so many people are interested in driving cars because it's really hard to do it and incredibly expensive. Most people experience cars through simulations now, like car games. And Gran Turismo 7 seems to be very well aware of this, as the whole thing is centered around driving these cars and really understanding these cars. Like, you have like little characters now added to the game for the first time, like engineers who will sit down and basically just in text form, there's no voice acting, tell you all about the car, its specs, what made the car great, and you can experience its history. You have a new car museum feature that will allow you to sit around and go through the history of the vehicle, whatever it may be. You can even watch videos and stuff if that's your thing. Go through the whole history, learn about its development, everything, what made the car great. Again, the whole thing is about experiencing vehicles. And by the way, the 4K at 120 frames per second looks phenomenal. And I did turn ray tracing on, just out of curiosity, just because I wanted to see what it would look like. I, believe it or not, didn't really notice hardly a difference. There's a slight bump in sharpness, but I didn't notice a dramatic difference. So I don't know if this game wasn't really developed for that or not, but I just wanted to throw that out there because some people were curious. Now, hey, what would the ray tracing look like? I didn't really notice much. Just my own personal opinion. I just wanted to throw that out there. But the cars feel great, especially with the PS5 controller. I didn't buy a wheel or anything. I just have the standard controller, and it looks phenomenal. I mean, it has haptic braking. I mean, it does such a great job of using the haptic feedback in the controller. You really feel every bump in the road, every curve, everything in the road you feel. Guys, look, graphically, this is the best game ever released. From a gameplay perspective, this is the best Gran Turismo ever released. From literally every perspective I can think of, this is the best Gran Turismo of all time. But I just want to throw something out there. Despite all of that, there was a little deception on the part of the PlayStation PR team that caused me to pre-order the game. And had I known this little known fact about Gran Turismo 7, I would never pre-ordered it. Even knowing everything I just told you, even knowing it's the best Gran Turismo ever, I still wouldn't have pre-ordered it. I'm going to tell you why. Remember that Ethernet cord I mentioned a while back? How I mentioned that I had plugged in the game, downloaded it, and didn't think to unplug it. Well, a couple minutes into playing it, because like most of you, I don't have unlimited data to play around with. I was like, oh, hey, wow, I need to unplug this thing. I forgot it. It's probably sucking data somewhere. You know how everything's a data hog these days. So I unplugged it and sat back down to play it. I couldn't play it at all. Seriously, could not play it. And I kind of blinked a few times. I was like, wait, what? What's going on? And I thought maybe there's an issue, and I restarted the app and everything just to make sure. But as I hunted and found out, it couldn't have been more clear. It said I was in offline mode. And in offline mode, I only got about 5 courses and maybe 8 cars. That's it. I was like, wait a minute, what? I just downloaded 90 gigabytes of data. And that's before the bug fixes and patch updates they've released since then. 90 gigs. Why can't I play a game? Restarted the game a couple times. Thought maybe there's a bug or something, or maybe there's some sort of glitch. Surely not. But guys, you heard me correctly. In order to play Gran Turismo 7, you must be connected to the internet at all times. And it's not just a stationary thing where you just need to be connected. It actively uses internet and quite a bit of it. I haven't been able to gauge exactly how much, but it's a data hog. To do anything on this game, even to just look at your garage, requires internet. The entire system is on the cloud. So basically you're racing on the cloud the whole time, despite having to download 90 gigs of data. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this was pretty shocking. Games do this from time to time, but they will at least do the courtesy of putting in a banner that says online functionality required for most gameplay. I don't understand why they didn't put that here, but it showed up nowhere, and in no way did I know that this game would require online functionality. Really took me aback, and it's really disappointing because again, like most of you, I don't really have unlimited data, so I'm pretty shocked. And not only shocked, I feel kind of sick because, I did drop $70 for the pre-order for a game that really can't be played that much. It's mind-blowing to me, and I just want to throw that out there because I've looked around and nobody else is talking about this. I just really feel like that's a very important thing for a lot of you to know, especially if you live out maybe in a rural area somewhere and your internet's either slow or you just don't have a lot of it. Please know that. You have to be connected at all times. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense on any level, but that's how it is. So, this is my review of Gran Turismo 7. Overall, what do I give it? Guys, this is a 10 out of 10 game, but I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Just for that little deception they put on us. Here's why. I never give things. I'm taking away 1 point for making me download 90 gigabytes of data just to play online. I'm taking away another point for them not putting the online functionality required for most gameplay. And I'm taking 1 more point away just because it makes me mad. And just makes me feel better to take away 1 more point. But seriously, it's just like that. I mean, it's really hard to overstate this. But this functionality is just so shocking and unnecessary. I'm giving the entire game a 7 out of 10 over that. Nothing else, just over that. So that is my review of Gran Turismo 7, my analysis. I really hope you guys don't do this again. It doesn't make any sense. There's no need for this to happen, and it just makes life really hard for some of us. So it's really too bad because it had massive, and still does have massive potential. But that's my review. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.